Hello friends, I'm Amanda Barr.
And I'm Rebecca Lou Brennan, and welcome to Dance Principles United, the podcast.
Together, we are passionate about helping studio owners with the business of running their studio.
Join us as we talk everything from marketing, systems, studio culture, motherhood, life, and everything in between.
This is the Dance Principles United podcast.
Actually recording today for our podcast, which is super exciting. So some of you might get to be a little part of that.
We wanted to let you know we're recording this, but your faces won't be seen or anything like that, so don't need to stress about that. But yeah, we're super excited to chat about staff today.
So excited. So let us know in the chat how you're feeling about your numbers, how all the things are going. I'd also love to know how you're feeling about team. Do you think you've got a great team, a good team, or a terrible team? Sophie is an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, so good to hear you've got a great team. So good. We love
Great,
that
Alex.
if you're happy with all that. And we can't wait to help you with that today, right?
Yeah, love that, Alex. Julia's a 9. That's so good, Julia. How amazing.
Love that.
Everyone's feeling very positive. I feel like it's a great year, Amanda.
Yeah, got it all happening.
Yeah, I feel like this is such a good year. I don't know if you guys feel that, but I really feel like there's a very, very positive feel to this year.
Awesome.
So super pumped to chat to you today. All right, guys. So we're going to chat today about staff matters, all things staff. Hopefully we inspire you a little bit with your team. I do think that team is often the very, very last thing that gets pushed to the side. And there's so much other stuff that we worry about, right? Can you guys all see my screen? Because that's doing something weird that doesn't normally happen.
Can you give us
to
a
me.
thumbs up or a thumbs down? Thumbs
You
up.
can?
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think I completely agree. I think sometimes, stuff, it gets pushed to the side. It's that last thing that you think about. You're like, oh, yeah, the team are great. I've just got to worry about the marketing, the trials, that parent email, all the other things, fixing the toilet. Like there's all this crap that you've got to
Entering the comps. Like, what comps are we doing? That's us at the moment. What comps are we doing?
Absolutely.
But the thing is, it's interesting because I would say most other businesses, Amanda, staff is their number one thing.
Yep.
And the problem is that with us not focusing enough on it and not making it the most important thing, then we lose kids. We don't have great retention. We end up fighting with that staff member because they haven't done what we wanted, but were we even clear in what we wanted in the first place? And it ends up being a whole shebang.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it. I know you are incredible at training your staff. So tell me, what do you feel like is like the first thing you'd like to talk about around here?
Well, first thing I want to talk about is removing financial anxiety from your staff. And the reason I want to bring this up is, I have a lot of teachers at my studio who teach at a lot of different studios because I've got a lot of, high-end teachers. And I know that it's such a common thing that they don't get paid, aren't being paid their super, aren't being paid properly. Like there's so many factors in this that's consistently coming up. And I know that our tribe members are very educated on this, but I thought because we're making this a podcast today as well, Amanda, it's something really important to talk about.
Absolutely. I feel like, if you want loyal staff, that ongoing stress from the staff and that undercurrent, sometimes you can feel this undercurrent where they're like, I wonder, and maybe it's not even as far gone as am I going to be paid on time? But maybe it's just I wonder if she's happy with my work. I wonder when I'm going to be due for a pay rise. I wonder if we're still doing the rate that we decided on last year or if that's going to be redone this year. I wonder if I'm going to get paid for that extra 20 minutes that she asked me to stay back. All of those things create financial anxiety in our staff, which is completely fair.
I love that. And before I move on to the next thing, I love what you said then, because making those pathways for your staff really relevant. Like if you have a junior staff member and they're a really great teacher and you could say to them, okay, I would love you to be a full-time trainee for 2 years, then I would love you to move up to head of junior school or whatever, then I'd love you to eventually maybe be a studio manager. Like if you can tell them that there's a pathway and there is a career in this for them, they're probably going to be more likely to actually work for you.
Absolutely. And I think also knowing like what's included in their hours, what they have to do that, you know, at home, for example. And I think that that's really interesting because, you know, I think so many of them like, and however you do it and whatever it works, that's kind of not what we're going for, but more the fact that, you know, you need to know up in front what's expected. Are they expected to post on band at home? Are they expected to cut music at home? Is that, you know, how many hours is that kind of at home that they're doing? And are they compensated for that or are they not? Do they have a higher, you know, hourly rate because of that? But I think just being super clear with what's expected.
Totally agree. Guys, if you're listening to the podcast, we have a chat with Tribe. So we've got a couple of comments here. Sophie's written, it's concerning what I've heard about what studio aren't doing in regards to regular payments or paying super. Totally agree, Sophie, but I want to put this out there right now. I was one of those studios because I was just uneducated.
Yep.
Probably 10 years ago, I would say, I wasn't doing any of that. And that's why I'm passionate now about talking to people about it because most studio owners, and Sophie, I know you're a gun businesswoman and, you know, that's super awesome, but most studio owners get into teaching dance because they want to affect children positively. They grew up doing dance. They love teaching dance. And so that's it, you know, and when someone comes to them and they're a contractor, they're just like, okay, I pay you as a contractor. That's just what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think education is definitely the key.
Absolutely.
And if you're not educated, that's okay. There's no judgment from Amanda and
Just
I
get
ever with
educated.
any studio.
Yep.
Yeah, just get educated.
Yeah, we've got an incredible speaker coming to Dance
yeah.
Teacher Expo, an accountant who is not from the dance world. And he is a wealth of knowledge. We've started working with him personally and he's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I think, you know, talking to people that are outside of our world because otherwise we get so into this is how it's always been done, so I'm just going to do it this way, I think.
Yeah.
You know, it's important. So, yeah, learn,
you
get educated. There's also great resources online that are free.
Oh, there's so many. But Amanda, you say he's not from the dance world, but he's worked with Paws and
Oh, yes,
you guys,
he is now. Originally, he is now.
He gets it now. Like he totally gets us.
Yeah.
I love what Dee's written. Guys, if you're on the podcast, because our tribe members obviously can see the chat. In no other industry do we demand a pay rate. Blows my mind. And I have to say about that, my bookkeeper, Kirsty, who's a bookkeeper for magazines, hotels, like so many different things, but she cannot believe the audacity of teachers saying to me that they want a $10 per hour pay.
Right.
She's like, that would not happen in any other industry ever. Like she just cannot, and she can't get over the rates of pay. She's like, you are paying some of these teachers more than a surgeon gets paid per hour.
Absolutely.
Like it's just so crazy and insane. I also think if you're giving them a really good block of time that you can renegotiate that because I do understand that if they're coming out to a studio for an hour or hour and a half, then charging $100 an hour, I get it because by the time they travel there, teach for that hour and a half and go home, that's probably a whole afternoon done for them. But if you're giving them 4 or 5 hours in a row, then I think you can say to them, like, I'm giving you a really good block. And I work really hard to do that at my studio. I try and give them like a 3:30 till 8 minimum if they're coming out. And then, you know, I'm giving you a really good block so we can reduce that rate for sure. All right, so I wanted to say always pay on time. And I think, you know, this is where you really have to work on your cash flow in your business because if you're someone that's chasing fees because you're still invoicing at the beginning of the term instead of getting that direct debit weekly, this is going to be very hard for you to do. And I totally get that because, you know, it takes people forever or maybe you're invoicing late. Like you shouldn't be, in my opinion, Amanda, invoicing at all. You should have a studio software that's taking that money out every single week. That was such a game changer for me when I started doing that in my studio. I'm sure it was for you as well, right?
Absolutely. And I think, you know, coming back to the always pay on time thing, you know, if we, you know, the chat that we just had and we expect these things from our employees, we've also got responsibilities as employers and you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? So, you know, to me, like, paying on time, like to me, within like an hour of the same time every single week. You know, if you went and worked for a corporation like we're talking about, if you worked for any other business, you know, they don't muck around with that. They don't go, oh, I was sick so you didn't get paid this week, because that's not their fault. That's not their fault if they've got rent due, all of those things. It's not, oh, so-and-so didn't pay me so I can't pay you. None of that is their problem. No matter what, pay your staff on time.
I also think this is, again, why they don't necessarily take some studios seriously.
Yes.
Because they're not going to take you seriously and think it's a real job if you can't pay them on time.
Yes, and correctly. Can we go back to the correctly
as
well?
Exactly.
With super, with proper pay slips, with everything going on. Like that needs to be done.
Because if they went to Woolworths, Coles, McDonald's, anywhere else, they're going to get paid on time every single week without fail properly.
Yeah.
So if you want to be taken seriously, and again, this is about having staff retention, you just need to really think about that. I know you're very passionate about this. I am as well. You know, if your staff work for you on concert day, they should be paid. And I know back in the day when I was a teacher, guys, I did not get paid for any of that ever. It was not even a thing.
Even I've done the same, like given a cash bonus. That's not the same thing. Yeah. A cash bonus for that day is not the same thing as paying them correctly.
And they will resent you. I remember once, and this was probably, I don't think I've even told you this story later. I think I was 18 or 19. It was my first year of teaching properly, like really teaching properly. I must have been 19. Anyway, this teacher that I was working for got me to help with costumes. Now, I reckon I probably did 2 or 3 hours a day for maybe 5 or 6 weeks of costuming.
Yep.
And she said at the end of the term she was going to give me a bonus. And at the end of the term, she bought me a pair of Ray-Bans. I'm not kidding. That was my bonus.
Yeah.
And I was so resentful of that and so angry about it. And you know, it's the same thing. Like it wasn't done properly. It's just such a And
it's hard. And I want to go back to the financial anxiety that we talked about before as well, because also I've heard studio owners that go, oh yeah, I pay my staff for concert day for sure. And I'm like, did you tell them that before you asked them to come? You know, because if they're like, oh, I wonder if she's going to pay me. I wonder what she's going to pay me. I wonder what hours she's going to pay me for concert day. Then there's going to be this like a little bit of anxiety from their behalf, you know, about what they're doing and what they're expected to do. And that's going to affect their performance on the day. So you need to be super clear. Hey guys, you know, I'm asking you to come for a concert. It'll be a 8 a.m. show up till a 4 p.m. You'll be paid for the entire time from 8 till 4, you know, whatever it is. You've got to be super clear about it. You'll have a lunch break at this time. We've got to be professional.
Yep. Also, to be clear, I am not paying them $70 an hour to be at the concert. I always pay the award wage, an admin rate is what I say to them, for their level. So I go to the fitness award wage for their level and age, check what that would be, and then that's what I pay them. Did you do that?
Yep, absolutely. Awesome. Next point.
Well, we've already talked about this, but be educated on super tax and all the things. And if you're not educated, you know, 1, come to Expo and listen to Ethan. That's the first thing I would suggest you do. 2, you can look this stuff up online.
It's so easy on the Fair Work, like that's a New South Wales thing, I think. Fair Work's Australia-wide. I don't know. But there's incredible websites, government-based websites that have all of that info. It actually isn't hard to find. There is a great Fair Work helpline. You know, I was talking to another studio owner about that. Like they were so shocked about how helpful the Fair Work. They thought the Fair Work was kind of like, you know, on the side of the employee. Absolutely not. They just want it to be fair, and they will give you help if you need it. If you call those lines, they are incredible. I highly recommend doing that as well.
And I know I harp on about this to everybody, but I'm going to harp on again. You cannot have contractors in your studio if they are coming out every single week.
As a weekly teacher.
As a weekly teacher at the exact same time. If they are booked as that, if they're wearing your uniform, even if they're not wearing your uniform.
If they're coming to staff meetings,
they are not a contractor. Okay, I've been burnt by that before, as you all know. Okay, that's it about finances. We're going on to expectations. Now, this is interesting because I know that a lot of studios just start their classes, bring some new staff in, put them into the classroom and go, off you go and teach. And that is a major, major issue. So clear expectations are where it's at. This makes it easier to manage them because you can be like, hey, when we had the staff training, which I'm very passionate about, but even if it was when we had our original meeting, I spoke to you about the fact that you can't be on your phone during class. And I've noticed on the videos that you're on your phone during class. Like that, you know what's funny about that? As studio owners, we would never think that was something that we needed to say.
No, that's exactly right. And I think so often we become resentful to our staff because we're like, they should know that. They should know that they shouldn't be on their phone. They should know that they shouldn't be eating during class. They should know. But I'm like, but if you haven't told them, it's not clear. Yeah. And I really feel like setting those expectations early and pulling them up early before it becomes a big deal.
That is the key. You have to pull them up early. And please don't think that my staff don't do any of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They do.
It's normal. Yeah.
They really, really do. I had a staff member eating in class last week. It's week 3. You know, straight away though, I have to go and talk to her.
Yeah.
I can't let it fester and leave it and then think, oh, why can't she do the right thing? And then go and bitch to someone, why can't she do the right thing?
Absolutely.
Like, that is not the way to manage.
End of the year and be like, oh, I'm so sick of that teacher because she always eats in class. Well, like, you know, if you told her after week 1, hey, just remember, I don't love eating in class or whatever that is for you, right? Remember we talked about at the staff meeting, I don't like it because of X, Y, and Z. So can you instead do X, Y, Z? And before it like festers into this huge problem, right? Just nip it in the bud.
Again, like I used to manage retail stores and every single day managing that retail store, we were constantly talking to the staff about what they needed to do better, where they could improve, how they needed to, you know, whatever. You're constantly giving them feedback. I always say this, but you have made a choice to be a studio owner, which means you're a boss, which means you are in charge of giving consistent feedback to every single staff member.
Yeah.
And they like it. Yeah. 9 out of 10 of them actually like the feedback and appreciate it.
Absolutely, especially if it's done before it becomes this big deal. If it's just like, hey, great job tonight in class. That dance looked awesome. Hey, P.S., if you could just make sure you have your snacks like between classes, that'd be awesome. Thanks so much. Like that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be a come into my room and sit down and have a meeting and it be really serious and scary.
Amanda is a lot nicer than me though. I am like so straight to the point.
But like that's a personality.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'm very straight to the point with my stuff though. Okay. Knowing your values. Now, I think this is important, not just for your staff knowing your values, but for you to know your values so that you don't have staff that try to waver you away from them because that is such a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Staff have their own ideas and they're like, you should do this.
I love this costume. We should do this. And you're like, oh, okay. They're like, oh, the kids think it's so cool or that's going to win well at comps or whatever. It's so easy to get swayed by them, especially seeing they're the one in the room with the kids and to take their word as gospel.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Now, if you don't have values, I would highly suggest you spend an hour or 2 going through. You'll know them and just trying to think about what your values are. 4 values is enough for me, I think. And, so one of my values is family, which includes inclusive classes. It might include that we all wear uniform because I want everyone to feel equal. It might include that I provide events so that people can connect with each other and so that Paws becomes a family, age-appropriate costumes and themes. Like there's lots of things that go under that little bracket of family. So you can be like, my value is family and here's all the reasons why we want to.
Here's the reason you can't wear that slutty costume. Is that basically what we're going with? I'll just put it out there.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally it.
Because
okay.
the granddads in the audience are not going to appreciate that costume.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly right, Amanda. And so I think, again, if you've told them your values, if you're clear in your values, then when they do something against your values, you can say to them, hey, let's just go back to the values. Remember, this was a part of the values. It's really important to us at Paws or wherever you are that this is adhered to. So we need to change the way we're doing things. Again, it just makes it easier to manage. If they don't know the expectations and don't know the values, then they feel like they can do what they want. And why wouldn't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you've really got to make sure. And, that comes back to really being clear with your expectations, your values, everything up front, because otherwise I feel like sometimes it feels like they're teaching their class and someone else is teaching their class, and then you're doing this and it's not connected, and I think it's really important to make sure everyone's on the same page and they're not just like individual things that are going on in our studios.
Absolutely. So when I do expectations, and I do it nearly every single staff training, and I do staff training 4 times a year, the reason that I do it so full on is because I think they need to know every little thing. So from the basics, like don't sit down while you're teaching. Like to me, that's so obvious. Don't be on your phone while you're teaching, like just basic things. And then I'll go all the way through to make sure that you say every child's name in a positive way in every single class that you take, right? Make sure you go out and speak to the parents in between classes, or make sure you post your videos on Band so that they can see what's going on in the classes. Like every single thing needs to be mapped out.
Yeah, I love that. And being super clear with that up front, as we said, that they need to know what's expected. They need to know if they're meant to be posting on Band, if you expect them to cut their music, when that's all due, exactly the types of wording that you expect them to use with parents and kids. It's so important.
Remember, if you're a tribe member, these slides are in your portal for you. So you can grab those slides with all the expectations and then you can just change them around for yourself, okay? So that makes it super easy for you guys. This is an interesting one. Don't only talk to them when something is wrong. I want to tell you.
That photo looks like there's something wrong.
Yeah, there is. There is.
From Nathan, but that is not what's happening in that photo. But regardless of the photo, I think it's so important to, not just talk to them when there's some big drama.
I want to tell you a little story. This is from a few years ago, but one of my teachers who also grew up at my studio and he's had an incredible career, and he's come back and teaching for me the last couple of years, was telling me that he was teaching at a studio and he went in the first day and the studio owner said hi and bye to him, didn't stay for the class or anything like that, just said hi and bye. He's teaching their senior contemporary class. He did not see that studio owner for the entire rest of the year. She did not, I'm not kidding. She did not communicate with him at all for the entire rest of the year.
That blows my mind. I'm such a fucking control freak that I'd sit there and watch the class every week, pop my head in for 5 minutes every single week. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I'm the same.
I shouldn't be a control freak.
No, I don't think that is a control freak. I think it's making sure that you are giving feedback. Again, like you should be giving feedback.
Even to top end choreographers.
Absolutely. Yeah. You should be saying to them, how are you going? Is there anything you need? I was on the phone I didn't go into the studio last night, Amanda. And I was on the phone to Lockie, who taught all of the troops last night just before I came here, saying, how did it go? Tell me what happened. Like, I want to know what's happening in my classes. And so I think like you want to try and chat to them every single week if you can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that can just be a quick little message. It can be between classes, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a sit-down meeting every week, but it's a check-in at some point, yeah.
Absolutely. And 3 times a term minimum. And you guys need to make sure that you're writing this down. Oh, I spoke to Lockie Friday, 20th of Feb. So therefore, if I'm going to do it 3 times a term, I'll talk to him again in 2 weeks' time. Like, that's fine too. I try and check in with each teacher, or one of our managers does, check in with each teacher every single week without fail.
I love that because it also lets them know that they have an opportunity to, be heard as well if they've got an issue. And sometimes it's just asking for advice. Oh, look, I had a bit of trouble with, so-and-so today. Like, she wouldn't really participate. I don't know, has anything been going on? Or how do you think I should handle that? Just having those conversations, it grows all of you as a team, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So staff appraisals don't need to be scary. And I know that you guys are like, I would never do staff appraisals, a lot of you. I would never sit down with a staff member and do that, but it's such a game changer, to spend a day in the school holidays, and it doesn't have to be in person. It can be on Zoom, exactly how we are here. So, my suggestion is set up a little Calendly. That's really annoying that video just keeps going over and over.
In a loop.
There's a video of Jim Carrey for those of you on the podcast just doing this whole wah thing, and it's just going over and over. Anyway, set up a Calendly. It's very simple to set up. Put your times in for, I'm going to do it Tuesday of week 2 of school holidays or whatever it is, I'm going to meet with you all for half an hour, meet with them on Zoom. There's a staff appraisal sheet in your portal for you guys to use, and you can change it up how you want. But, you know, I have things on my staff appraisal like give yourself a mark out of 10 for how you marked the roles this term, because that's really important. Give you
self-reflection.
give yourself a mark out of 10 for how positive you were in class. Give yourself a mark out of 10. Like I get them to grade themselves, and then I give them